I know you mentioned the LAAF funds. But if you're a utility, I know with the Agricola project, because you're a utility, can you get LAAF funds? I think, isn't there a distinction there?
It's public power, or it has public power. You can't. And we have seen some information on agriculture, but the project is permitted.
Right, understood. Okay, I know in the Agricola, when we were applying for funds, I know we're not able to get the LAF funds.
Yeah,
because you're a utility.
Yeah, intervention coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, we backed out of it. That's fixed the town, the two towns.
Okay, all right, cool. And lastly, getting back to the penalties for job creation. If and when you see something, I think it's a if, leaning toward it. I'd really like you to take seriously that no jobs will be created to speak of in the community. I know there's a project in Fenner where the two maintenance guys, one lives in Pennsylvania and the other lives an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And that's their choice, obviously, I know.
Right.
But there's also in the effects on the community. And just an example, I was talking with a town supervisor from Fremont, who's not able to live in her home, and she's a town supervisor just because of the effects of the noise and vibrational noise. And there are a lot of people and all that. So just take it very, very serious, and that would be my comment.
All right.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I'll wait to hear on the where I can find that.
I'll email it. I think it's right on the website, but
Okay.
it's hard.
Yeah, I couldn't.
I know.
Right.
I'll just email it to you.
Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and we have our honorable chair here.
He might get involved.
Yep.
Here he is.
So could we move into executive session to discuss contracts? Anybody?
Move. Yeah.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Who would you like to?
Just the board.
Just the board.
You can stay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, I thought you were leaving.
Yeah, Jonathan's gonna be late.
Boy,
We'll tell your son.
yeah, anytime you see a pretty woman.
Don't blame you.
Am I allowed to speak?
Yes, yeah, you
I realize.
Yeah, we're sorry about
I
that.
always have to take time for constituents, and since I'm now here, I cover all of these.
No, anytime you see a voter. I know. Like, this is this big long copies. Kids graduating high school has gotta be there.
I know. Apologize to his son.
They're gonna be late. All right, what's next, Mike?
Reading or approval of minutes.
I read them. Anybody approves them? There's not that much stuff to.
Make a
I
motion
move we
to
approve the minutes.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Treasurer.
Okay, so your bills and communications, specific, a lot of the same stuff you see every month, but a few things specifically to note. That the local labor waiver, for the Altus Funnies project didn't close until June. So Loki Brill did do reporting for May. As such, there are bills for May for those projects that we're gonna pay, Altus will pay us for those. So just know that they're there and we're paying them, but we are getting reimbursed for them. That had the waiver payment agreement whatever has closed though now, so Loki Brill is no longer viewing monitoring on that project, so these bills will stop. I thought they would stop last month, but now they actually will. Our annual subscription for Microsoft products was invoiced in June. So that's the phone system, the digital filing system, cloud, all that stuff. So that came up in June and won't happen again until next year. And then finally, the Revelis invoice for director services includes a discount to reimburse the IDA as part of the conference registration for the Cooperstown Conference. There's a fee for Michael to participate in golf. He's reimbursed you via a discount on the bill for the golf.
How did you do?
Of that.
I had a great time.
That's all that matters. So when you look, if you look at the details of that bill, you'll see that discount there, and that's what that's for.
Right.
You want to do a motion to approve the bills and then go into the budget report?
Yes, do we have a motion to approve the bills? Move. Then we got a second, come on, guys. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
For the budget report, on the balance sheet, I'll just note that the dedicated land fund does now reflect the proceeds from the Wayne sale that closed. So that's why that changed. You'll also notice that we created the dedicated economic development fund under the checking account and the equity line of the balance sheet. That includes the local labor waiver payments from Altus, and then going forward, that's where we'll put any of those local labor penalties. And then what's in the accounts receivable is primarily still the land sale to Sunburn Dairy. So that's what makes up most of the payable or the receivables. And then on the profit and loss comparison report, as noted at the last meeting, we received a $5,000 administrative fee from Finger Lakes Rail, so you'll see that on the income side. Program income, which is line 472000. It's about $2,000 is just the reimbursement for the closing costs from the waves. So they paid us for the property, but also about $2,000 for closing costs. So that's where that landed. Program services, which is 47240, is all of the reimbursements for the Loki Brill fees that we paid. So that offsets expenses that are on the outside contract services, their expenses. And then the contract services line 6. So this, just to let you know, I made some adjustments in a couple of expense lines to make it clear what's what. So the contract services line 62100 is now just the MRB group fees related to the subdivision of the Wayne property, and all of the administrative fees, both MRB and Red Clover, are now on the administrative services line. So some of those admin fees had been on the contract services line, some were on the administrative services line. Now they're all in one place, so you can track that more clearly. And those are the things I wanted to bring to your attention.
Oh, thank you. No, Mike?
Hi. You have my written report, but as always, I have some walk-on updates here. A couple of points will just be reiterating what Tracy had shared here. We did complete the mitigation buyout for the two Sunnies projects. So Colin Loki, who's filling in for his brother today, will only be reporting on the Sterling solar project for labor monitoring. It's also mentioned by Tracy. We're working towards the completion of sale for the Sunburn acquisition. Had a chance to meet with our new Finger Lakes representative in the area. I had an exploratory conversation just earlier this week about potential rail expansion here in Cayuga County. I will keep everyone posted as those advance there. Had a meeting with a separate developer for IDA benefits, a roughly small comparatively for many of the projects we entertain, about $3 million in total for a proposed project up in Senate. So hopefully we see that come in over the next month or so here. So I have ongoing site visit scheduling here and certainly remain engaged with the potential and pending acquisition of Wells College. On land front, had an opportunity to get in contact with DOT regarding a potential light at the corner of Eagle Drive and 5 and 20. What they will be doing for us is conducting a signal study there. One of the things that has changed since they last heard is Cayuga Milking Ingredients as part of their expansion shared their study in 2023, but obviously since then, there's been some additions in the park, such as Denkavic's expansion, Sunburn's expansion, and even the milk plant had a larger plan that's
Right.
come about. In the meantime, we are trying to sell our plot on the corner. The mall's trying to sell their out parcels. They may have some opportunity there. So there's all sorts of stuff
No.
going on.
That light is critical if we want to develop that other.
Yeah, now's the time to do it. So.
Yes, and the biggest reason I have reached out to DOT, and I'm sure many of you have heard this here, is that it's become much more of a safety issue for the tenants of the park and the residents of that area. It's much more traveled, and something has to be done there. So moving on that end.
Good for you.
Sure.
When do you think we'll hear?
They didn't give me a specific time frame of when that will happen, but I will say the representatives I spoke with this morning were tip top, very well engaged. So I expect to hear back from them sooner than later, and we'll keep the board updated on the progress of that. The stakeholder fund, some high level things to share here. There's now a quad county meeting here, which concerns Madison, Portland, Cayuga, and Oswego. Because we're not on Onondaga, we're not talking about the same sort of items going on. So this group was really formed to discuss best practices and advancing economic development projects, as well as stakeholder engagement. And we've met a couple of times, really great feedback for what they're doing in various counties and what we're doing ourselves here in advancing projects. Oswego County, without question, is doing a fantastic job comparatively there. So they actually have some materials I'm looking to share with our MICA steering committee that's planned to meet, I think, next month or the month after, now that we're going to be meeting quarterly. The Regional Economic Development Council, we had our retreat yesterday and a board meeting last week. With the budget finally getting passed, lots of information on that. There was actually a CFA workshop earlier today. I can share those resources with you of what the high level items look like, as well as what those budget items that came out of the governor's office appear to be, so that you can share them with your networks, your clients, your constituents. Certainly some great stuff in there. Of note, the retreat itself was held up at Loca State Winery. That's up in Sterling, Fairhaven, beautiful property. And a great deal of investment has gone into that property there. So for our region to see one of our assets here in Cayuga County was, to say the least. Locally here, look down at you, Bob, a little bit on this one, is hopefully the economic development countywide strategy gets advanced this month, so that can move forward in putting together a countywide plan, which I think is very important for this group as well as our peer agencies as part of budgeting going into next year. We're just a couple of months off from beginning our budget cycle ourselves. Clearly, you saw that Andy and I have been engaged with our county chair on a couple of important initiatives on that end. Lastly, from an operational standpoint, have spoken with our landlords about extending our lease here, setting up a new conference space, and more importantly, speaking with Gina about getting some additional furniture and seating in here so we can welcome our guests on site. So that is everything I have from the walk-on standpoint, but happy to take any questions. All set.
Good. All right, labor,
All right, Colin, you're up.
Okay, good afternoon. Obviously we just have one project to report on, which is New York USLE Sterling Station Road. For that project, there were a total monthly headcount of 68 workers. Of the 68 workers, 0 were Cayuga County residents, 1 were residents of the defined local area, 23 were residents of New York State living outside of the defined local area, and 44 were non-New York State residents, which leaves the total monthly compliance for Cayuga at 0, the total monthly local area compliance at 1%, the total monthly non-New York resident compliance at 34%, and the total monthly non-New York State resident at 65. I'm sorry, the previous was New York State residents outside the local area, 34%.
Hey, Colin, could you remind me, I don't know if it's you or Kevin that really heads up this portion of it. When's the last time we did a quarterly payment schedule or determination with Sterling?
That would be Kevin's department, but I can certainly make note of that and have him reach out to you guys with that information.
Okay, thank you.
I'm assuming they're aware of the
Yes.
penalties. so-
Yes.
yeah, so when do we have discussions with them?
So we had that set up as part of our agreement, and the front end here is they pay for all the labor services that Loki does for us, and for any amount of non-compliance, they're paying us a fee on a quarterly basis. And this last report said you used essentially 0%, so they're gonna get clipped for that.
It's probably just me, but I think we need to relook at that policy. The report he just gave, none of the workers were from Cayuga County,
Mhm.
and I'm not satisfied with that. I'm not satisfied with us getting money from them so that they don't have to hire people here. I think we should relook at that policy. If I'm the only one, I can out about it by myself.
If I could add, I think one of the comments from previous meeting or perhaps 2 meetings ago was perhaps our penalty fee is too low. So in evaluating the use of local labor, it's not providing enough incentives to say you need to look harder more locally.
I think that's what I was trying to say. We should look at the whole policy
Okay.
and come up with something that we as a group are satisfied with. And if it's just me, you don't need to look at that, but I'm not satisfied with.
No, I agree.
With
Well,
one
I
person.
think we might as well just straight be honest. We're not gonna get any local labor. So
Very little for that.
let's just factor that right into the front end.
As part of the penalty. And
Well, why you didn't pay for this guy to come back and tell us they're not hiring anybody?
I think looking at, let's, please, Gina, let's put that on the agenda
Yeah.
for next month.
No, keeping her happy is kind of like one of the top
But
goals.
and if it's just me,
Not a good way to keep working.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah,
It's
you're right.
disappointing.
You're right.
It's disappointing.
No, you're right. And the other part about the training, you're not gonna train people for these temporary jobs that are among
Well,
anything in the
look
area.
at it like 68 man hours.
Right, exactly. It's,
So you're talking 3-4 people.
yeah, we might better concentrate on something that's really gonna build the area.
Yeah. It was very nice, was it last meeting or the meeting before, when they came and talked about all the,
Danny?
yeah.
So that was the last
That
meeting,
was
and that
great.
was part of what Danny was sharing with all of you, is that there's all of these training programs that are happening throughout the region, and what the original intent was behind our mitigation fee policy is we now create a workforce fund, speak with our local unions, contractors to say, where are you seeing gaps that we can help supplement funding for workforce development? And obviously what Danny shared was extremely insightful to what our peer counties are doing and investing in.
I was watching YouTube on this subject. 60% of the funeral directors are gonna retire in the next 3 years. And, you know, I mean, it's like, but it's like,
They're gonna
oh,
die too.
they're gonna die too.
Oh, geez.
But isn't that, it's just kind of incredible how
Yeah.
people are phasing out.
Hmm.
You know, the demand for electricians, everything else.
Mhm.
Okay, well, thank you on that.
Thank you, Colin.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Tom brought up at the last time whether we thought it was really legal to take out the money to pay a director from that fund that you mentioned, because he thought that was already supposed to go into that labor thing. But I just, whether it is or not, we don't have to.
No, if you look at, and actually Justin had talked about this last time.
Okay,
If you look at the verbiage, we're pretty free on what we can do.
I don't, I think they absolutely need a director, and I don't want us to get to next month and have a question about where it comes. But we have the money we just got from the sale of that wood lot next to the mall. We can get it someplace else. I don't want to get hung up next month.
I don't think anybody has qualms about the money, but I think, you're 100% right. I think we need to follow protocol. We need to have
Are we
everything.
mixing executive session, public sessions?
No, we're in public.
No, but I'm saying, isn't this an executive session topic? I'm just saying.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Don't tell them the secret.
Yeah.
But I thought a couple meetings ago, basically straw polled the board that we just agreed with the concept of
Yeah,
hiring for Capusa, so it's, we've been discussed it for a while.
Yeah.
I'll get off that then.
thank you. Anything on the land committee we wanna?
We have looked at a number of places and we've come up with a number of places that either are not for sale or are not acceptable. And do we want to talk about those places without going into an executive session?
That needs to be
I would like John to stay, but I would like to have an executive session to discuss
Well,
possible.
all
Or
right,
you
let's-
want to wait till the end to do that? That's fine.
yeah, well, I think we are at the end, huh?
Or yes.
Yeah,
So let's say on the agenda.
so if you wanna go. Make a motion.
Yeah, I move and go.
Nice second.
All right, any discussion, all in favor? I'm sorry,
That's okay. I'll see you.
We adjourn.
all in favor? All right, we're done, thank you,
Thanks, Justin.
appreciate your time.